Hey guys, Cameron with CBM Reviews here, and I know it's a little bit late, but I had to make sure that I had my Doom Patrol review right for you. If you weren't aware, Doom Patrol is the new series that came out on DC Universe streaming app, and it is the story of a few unlikely, odd, and weirdos that come together and have to stop a serious threat, much like these weirdos and these weirdos, but they're their own type of weirdos, you understand. So what I'm going to talk about here, I'm going to talk about the first 2 episodes, and I'm going to talk about how I felt about it, and then talk about how I really felt about it. Before I get into this, thank you so much for clicking on this video. It means a whole lot to me. Thank you to all my new subscribers. I really appreciate the support. And if you want to be like those guys, go ahead and click that subscribe button at the bottom. And if you want to know as soon as I post a video, hit that notification bell. You will know as soon as I post a video. Now, on to the Doom Patrol review. The first glimpse that we got into Doom Patrol was in episode 4 of Titans, which was entitled Doom Patrol. There's where we meet Robot Man, Mr. Negative, as well as Elastic Woman, and the Chief. Beast Boy was a part of the Doom Patrol at the time, and eventually later on in the episode he joins Dick Grayson as well as Starfire and Rachel. And I really thoroughly enjoyed that episode, especially the parts that showed how tragic and how broken they were, but they're trying to keep everything together. And then we actually saw a glimpse into the Doom Patrol, but it was more of a joke in an episode of Young Justice, which I really didn't talk that much about season 3 of Young Justice on this channel. But I will say that if I haven't made it very clear, you need to watch. They've only posted half of the season thus far, so you don't have a finalized full season yet. There's more episodes coming down the pipeline, which I can't be more excited about it. But on to the Doom Patrol review. So last Friday, they posted the very first episode of Doom Patrol, which was the pilot. And after I watched it, I hated it. I really had a dislike for it, and I didn't know exactly why, especially when I came from this point of enjoyment, and then I get to this point of disdain and disgust for the episode. I was having a hard time putting my finger on it, and I was gonna make a video telling about how I felt about it, but then I said, wait a minute, something just doesn't feel right. I checked IMDb and I checked Rotten Tomatoes, and everybody there loved it. They loved it more than the Umbrella Academy. And I said, something's off. So let me go back to the drawing board and watch the Doom Patrol episode from Titans, as well as the pilot again. And I watched the Doom Patrol episode of Titans, still enjoyed it, and then I rewatched episode 1, the pilot of Doom Patrol. And I came to the revelation that I didn't hate the first episode. Hooray! I'm not a complete hater. But what I did hate was one segment in the episode. And apparently that segment in the episode, in my mind, swelled and overtook the entirety of the episode. And it's the point in the middle where they go into town. Not everything about that is something that I dislike, but there's just one segment that I just thought felt really off, and I didn't really like how it was told from several aspects. But the beginning of it, which is telling the story from Robot Man's point of view, who is played by Brandon Fraser, and by the way, I think is probably the best key player in this series so far. But it tells about his story, his background, and what happened, and then his rehabilitation. It does take a glimpse into the other characters' background, but it's more brief than it is with Robot Man. Then it ends in a very weird way, and I didn't know how to process it. Perhaps that was another reason why I felt that the episode bombed upon first viewing. And then the second episode came out, and it's still weird. But we do get an introduction to Cyborg. Now this Cyborg, I am not 100% sold on how he looks. But how he acts and how he performs, I am enjoying. I like how he comes in headstrong And he's been doing this for quite some time. But I really enjoyed how he came across on the screen. I did like that aspect of him. I like how he interacts with Robot Man. I do like the interactions that he had with other characters, specifically Jane, who I really haven't talked about yet, and I'm going to talk about a little bit later. And then there was this crazy moment that happened later on involving a donkey. Fortunately, it's not Clerks 2 crazy event involving a donkey, but it's still pretty crazy. And it ends just as crazy as it begins, but you do get a little bit more backstory between Elastic Woman, Mr. Negative, and Cyborg, which like I said, enjoyed those portions of it. But going back to Jane, she's got 64 different personalities, and apparently there's 64 different powers that are associated with it. And just like her, I'm a little bit worried that Mr. Negative are going to provide moments of ex machina, and I'm hoping that's not the case. They even make a little bit of a mention about it in episode 2. But hopefully they'll kind of get that under wraps, and you won't have too much of that going on as the series progresses. Overall, I watched it initially, I didn't like it, then I stepped back, watched it again, and realized it's just one segment that soured it for me, and the rest of it's actually really good. It's kind of nice to sometimes step back and reevaluate some things and realize how off-center your point of view was. And so it's just one of those things I had to do. So even though last week I was bound and determined and prepared to tell you all, do not watch this show, I changed my mind. It's really good. Like I said, the big star of this, as of right now, is Brendan Fraser's Robot Man. It's really great. The dry, wry sense of humor comes across great. Even though I still like Umbrella Academy more, this one isn't that far behind. So that's my review of Doom Patrol, Episode 1, which is a pilot, and Episode 2, which is Donkey Patrol. Tell me what you guys think about that in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Share this with your friends on Facebook and Twitter, and as always, this is Cameron with CBM Reviews. We'll see you next time.